My name is Lauren McKinney, and this is my English 386 presentation. My creative project is a multimedia art piece. It is currently unfinished, and the representation I have right now is lacking all color, but I do intend to use both paint and marker in order to further push the images that are just rough sketches now into actual complete work. The inspiration for my creative project is kind of personal and also inspired by a lot of the things that we have gone over in this class. In my personal life, I have recently gotten top surgery, which is for those who don't know, a surgery that essentially removes the breasts and makes the top of a person's body masculine. And this work has a lot of restriction. It's got physical chains, it's got cords, it's not a work that is free to sprawl in any which direction. But it is a work about change. It is not a strict one piece of paper with strict dimensions. It's multiple pieces of paper, because the ability to modify oneself to better match how they feel, their identity, and various other things, whether it's because of a gender-based thing or because someone has a disability, or there's just something about themselves they want to change. Even piercings and tattoos are, to a degree, they're the ability to change oneself and reflect how they feel. And it is sort of a work of art upon the body, the ability to change, to build, to create oneself as oneself wants to be perceived. And I feel like this project, when it is finished, will accurately represent the ways in which the medical system both is highly restrictive of what the ways that people can change themselves are, being tied up in paperwork, in legal fees for some people, and just being very difficult to get into. But once someone has access to what they need and are able to change themselves in whatever way they see fit, surgery, medication, what have you, it is just brilliant and lets someone feel more at home in their own body. And I feel like art and poetry, writing, music, all these sort of artistic expressions of identity are very important in being able to express oneself, especially if one isn't able to do it through their body. The medical and health aspects of this work are fairly obvious in my opinion. They are both reflective and embodying the medical industry and the ways in which it contains and allows for the freedom of expression. There are gauze that are used to stop bleeding. There's a pill case that can allow someone to heal, reduce pain, align their brain chemistry in order to function better in a world that may cause them difficulty. There's a lot of different ways that the medical aspect shows through here. The article, The Possible Future of Cyborg Healthcare, Depictions of Disability in Cyberpunk 2077, is one of my inspirations for this work. It discusses the ways in which the video game Cyberpunk 2077 depicts cyborgs, healthcare, and the relationship between the two, both in the video game itself and in the real world. The dependence upon the medical industry for the upkeep and use of pieces of themselves to a cyborg or someone who has any sort of prosthesis or other medical aid is something that keeps them chained to others. They are dependent upon others, even though they have the ability to modify themselves, to change themselves in many different ways that may feel better or more aligned with how they feel as a person. They're still chained to an industry that may care more about profiting than their well-being. That is why I have chains and cords involved in my art piece, because there's a direct connection between the ways in which people can use this system to raise themselves up, but it also ties them to this system that they have no way of freeing themselves from. The article Language, Body, and Transpoetics, an interview with Joy Ladin, is a piece that I feel represents a lot of the ways in which we connect art and the ways in which it connects to the sense of self or body that can be presented. And being able to express oneself through art, whether it be words or visual or music, is very reflective and also allows for the representation of oneself, whether it accurately represents who someone appears to be or views themselves as or wishes they could be. There's a lot of connection between language, color, all sorts of things that really are defined by our relationship to our identity and our body, and in embracing and depicting different things through this, we can accurately or inaccurately put ourselves in a position to be seen. I chose this multimedia format because I felt like it was the best way to allow myself space in order to accurately represent something that I have difficulty putting into words quite the same way. I feel like when I use words, I end up being very repetitive in an unintentional way. So by using a physical medium, especially a multimedia format, I can bring in different things to allow me to add more of a texture and more of a different kind of perspective on what I am attempting to express. I can use chain that is not just one simple chain, it's multiple forms, because not all of the restrictions are the same. And in some ways, some of them are beautiful or can look appealing, but there's a lot of different ways to be restricted. I have a cord in there. I'm planning to add more cords because so much of the technology that we use in order to improve our lives or change ourselves is relevant. And the fact that you can look at something that has so much texture, it has pieces that are metal, pieces that are paper, whatever gauze is made of, I think it might be a fabric. There's plastic. There's different elements that all contribute to this piece that is not just one thing. It has different angles you can look at it to view the different pieces of the medical industry and its relationship to self-modification and the ability to both enable and restrict how one presents themselves. It's very clear that there's just not one thing that can be said about a topic as broad as this, and that in expressing it, it can be said in words or pictures, but here I felt that the multimedia format was the best way I could communicate this idea. Thanks for listening to my presentation, and I hope you have a wonderful day.